Andrew, we have in here right now, it's Kaylee Murphy. Kaylee, do I say that properly?
Yes.
Good morning. Pull that mic right down so it's nice and close to you. Okay, we have a problem going on right now, and it is an epidemic. And talk about what you guys are doing.
Yeah, so we are the Community Partnership Coalition of Herkimer County, and we work together to help promote prevention, provide information, and really educate our community surrounding substance abuse issues and concerns.
Heroin is what I'm talking about. It's
Yes.
a real problem.
Heroin is an epidemic. We definitely have some alarming trends in this state. New York State, the Office of Alcoholism and Substance Abuse just recently reported that it is the leading cause of accidental death in the state. So that's just right there just goes to show how big of a concern it is for us.
Yeah. Let's talk about Jeffrey Veach. And this is difficult when parents go through tragedy.
It is.
And some decide to plow forward and really try to do some good, take a tragedy and turn it into something positive.
Yes, very. I met Jeffrey, and as soon as I heard his story, I just knew it was something that I really wanted to bring back to the community because, you know, all too often people have this mindset of, well, it's not going to happen here. It can't happen to my kid.
Yeah.
But people need to start realizing that addiction doesn't discriminate. You know, it can happen to anybody from any, you know, any type of background, any type of socioeconomic status. Any, you know, it can happen to anybody. And Jeffrey's story really just brings that to light that it can happen to
Jeff's 17-year-old son, accidental drug overdose in 2008. They formed the Justin Veach Fund, and Jeffrey will be speaking coming up this weekend. When is the event, and how can people get there?
The event is actually tomorrow night, Wednesday, October 5th at 6:30 p.m. We are having it at the Herkimer College at the Hummel Amphitheater. And it is open to anybody in the community, and it's free admission. So we really would like to see as many people as we could there.
All right. Jeffrey actually is on the line right now. Jeffrey, thanks so much for coming on.
Yes, good morning. Glad to be here.
This gives you an opportunity to tell your story, and I'm assuming you, like so many other parents, would have looked at something like this and said, this could never happen to us.
Well, of course, and it's happening time and time again in every city and town across the country. You know, we were one of those parents that felt it could not happen to us. And when we lost our son, Justin, in 2008, we had a choice. We could just withdraw and mourn quietly or take action.
Yeah.
And we decided to make as much noise as possible. We created the Justin Veach Fund to honor his legacy, that we awarded scholarships, and we also provided like-minded teen musicians opportunities that Justin didn't have. And the big one, and the toughest one for me, was to tell his story and to talk to young people as though Justin was talking through me to them. And it's very important to reach out to them, and it's one of the things we need to do. Prevention is one of the keys. It's very difficult to deal with a drug crisis when it's already happening in your family. And we need to warn families of the challenge and the prevention. The ways that we can prevent is to discuss this, and that's what we need to do.
Now, your son was a singer-songwriter, a musician, very talented. And how did it, you know, I was just talking to my wife about this the other day. So no matter how well-behaved your kid is, how straight-laced your kid is, all it takes is one boy or one girl or one bad apple and one bad move. And anything can happen, right?
Well, that's true. I mean, it's decisions. When you're a teenager, you have a lot of decisions to make, and you can make one or two wrong decisions. And at one point along the way, and Justin was a very good student and very talented, somewhere in his 14th year, he decided he would experiment with marijuana with his friends. And that led to other things. He also, we didn't realize the extent that he had anxieties, and he began to self-medicate. And when he went from marijuana to other things, we didn't know he was doing anything because he was taking opioid painkillers and trying to self-medicate. And it was only making him worse, and we didn't And we struggled as parents when he was entering his junior year and began to show symptoms, and that is a struggle. We did everything we could. We had him in a rehab center for a month, and we did everything we could, and we thought when he came home he was doing well because he made up all his work, and he was about to enter his senior year when he went out one afternoon with friends we didn't know, and we did all the things parents are supposed to do. We changed the rules, we changed his cell phone, monitored his friends, but you cannot completely take control of someone.
Yeah. And I guess once you said the symptoms were showing, if that's when you're finding out, I'm assuming that becomes a real dangerous point. It does,
and it takes a tremendous effort and tremendous support among many people to go through this, because we get letters from young people who struggled and struggled and struggled, and our healthcare system has let us down in many cases. It's getting better. That's the good news. And also the good news is 80% of our young people are not experimenting with drugs. Yeah. And the 20% are the ones I'm worried about and I want to speak to. The film Whispering Spirits tells our story. Anyone listening here can watch this film in their home if they wish by going to whispering-spirits.com. It's very emotional. It tells our story, but I take it a step further when I speak to kids.
Yeah.
It's a 40-minute multimedia talk, and I talk directly to the young people to tell Justin's story, and they get to know him. And they get to know that they'd like to be with him. They'd like to meet him. They'd like to do things that he does. And then I tell him what happened. And then we discuss the issues and try to figure out, well, why did this happen? And that's, I think, very important that we have that conversation.
All right. So, Kaylee, it starts tomorrow night.
Yep, it starts tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m. and at Herkimer College in the Hummel Amphitheater. And then Thursday morning, we are opening up to the local students in our community.
Schools will be able to come by as well. Jeffrey, how do the kids got to react? Especially when if you're showing, this is multimedia, so you're showing video and they see, boy, he doesn't look like what I thought a drug addict would look like. I mean, I think that's key.
Absolutely. It's just like another person that you would be friends with.
Yeah.
And the picture of health, and we can't see it all the time. And so we have to, dig a little bit further. And, Justin's music has been literally heard around the world on the album that Polyvinyl Records released for us when took us a year to put it together.
Wow.
But we wanted his music to be out there because we realized he had a message. And that music is now going hand in hand with my talk. And it is getting through to the kids, and they do listen, and they are moved.
Well, listen, I'm sorry you had to go through what you went through, and what your family went through, and what your son went through, and but we appreciate what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate really that, and I also appreciate what your community partnership coalition in Herkimer County is doing. They're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
They're starting the conversation, and we need to start it and get it going and keep it going.
All right, Jeffrey, thanks so much for taking the time. It's tomorrow night at 6:30. Thanks again for calling in.
Thanks for having me.
Again, get out there and see this, and it's touching, really, it's athletes, it's musicians, it's just kids that you would never expect to get involved. It happens. So, all right, good stuff, Kaylee. Is there a website people can go to get details?
We have a Facebook page if you want to look us up, Community Partnership Coalition of Herkimer County. And we do have a website that you can link to us.
Okay, awesome.
Herkimer County Prevention Council.
Great. Kaylee, thanks for coming out. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.